All right, good morning. It is day 14. Day 14. And today I'm going to be talking about effective communication, right? And so I looked up the two words effective and communication, right? So effective says successful in producing a desired or intended result. Then it also says fulfilling a specified function in fact, though not formally acknowledged as such. And then communication says the imparting or exchanging of information or news, right? So when we put those two together, what we're learning to do is to impart or exchange information or news and being successful in producing a desired or intended result. So that's the purpose of us communicating, to produce a desired or intended result and to exchange information. You know what I mean? When we think about talking to someone, that's basically what we do. We share information, right? But we just don't want to just share information. We want to be effective with it. We want to be successful in exchanging that information, right? So I begin to think of how that impacts me and how that affects me on this journey of me learning myself and learning to communicate and learning to walk in my purpose, right? And so I was writing some things down. I wrote down, learning to listen more than speak is teaching me when conversation is needed. Learning to hear and receive instructions teaches us how to properly maneuver through circumstances. I also wrote down, when communicating, sometimes we speak to be heard or to prove someone wrong or to make sure that we are viewed as being right. Most times that doesn't go well and we leave feeling unresolved, right? So I began to think about that, and I began to think about what it means to listen more than to speak, right? I began to think about how conversations go when you're trying to prove your point, or you're trying to, call someone out, or to make sure that what was said about you is, you got to make that right, it's not true. So you got to make sure that they know that it's not true. And I thought about that, like even sometimes in the end of that, it still doesn't bring about a resolve. Your point's still not proven. And you're still left with those feelings of, I haven't been heard. I'm still misunderstood. I'm still not understand. I'm still taken advantage of. I'm still looked at a certain way. So I began to think about that and to say, even in those times, how we still have that feeling. Even after all that talking and going back and forth, nothing was resolved. Even you think about most arguments, people have arguments and they're going back and forth, and one's yelling, the other one starts yelling, one gets a little loud, it goes up and it keeps going up, and nobody's hearing anybody. Nothing's getting accomplished, just got a bunch of yelling back and forth and nobody's hearing anybody, right? And so you're looking at that and you're saying, okay, so at the end of this all, everybody's pressure's up, your heart's racing, you're mad, you're out of breath most times, but then what did you accomplish in that? You still didn't get done what you set out to do, which was prove your point. Nothing has been proven, but somebody can get louder than the other person. You know what I mean? I began to think about that. And I also begin to just write down some things to say, how do we know if we're entertaining effective communication? So I wrote down, considering our heart and mind toward a situation before having a conversation. That forces us to ask vital questions before we even speak, right? Before we even sit and have the conversation, let's ask some questions to ourselves. I said, does what we have to say make sense? Does what you say make sense? Right? Okay. Am I speaking in anger? Am I just talking because I'm upset and I want to make sure that you know that I'm upset? What solution am I looking for? What's my motives? We checking our motives. Remember, what am I looking to get out of this conversation? Am I looking to give you some vital information that is going to exchange? Am I exchanging information with you, or I'm imparting something to you? Am I successfully producing a desired or intended result by having these words with you? Or am I just wasting a bunch of my energy? You get what I'm saying? So it's like just taking the time to have those conversations with yourself. You know what I mean? And just saying, is this worth my energy? Is this worth this conversation? You know what I mean? Because sometimes some conversations are just not going to be able to be had. You're not going to always be able to prove that you're right about something. I had to tell myself that, LaCon, you're just not going to be, it's not going to always go that way. You're not always going to be heard. You're not going to always be understood. And you're not always going to be right. It's just how it is. That's just how it goes. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that you may never get that apology. You may never get that, yeah, you were right. You know what? You was right about that. You may never hear those things. You may never get that, I apologize. You may never get that, I'm sorry. You may never get that, will you forgive me? You may never, ever get that. And you have to be okay with that. You can't sit and just say, okay, until I get that, you're going to hear my mouth. No, that doesn't do anything for you. It does absolutely nothing for you. Because there to be more bitterness, unforgiveness, resentment. Remember, we're tearing down to build up. We're getting all this stuff out of us. We're purging, we're grouping and sorting those things, getting those things out of us so that we're not holding on to this. We're not holding on to those things, right? And so I also wrote down the question, how will I respond if it doesn't go my way? You know what I mean? These are different things that you need to think about before you even have a lot of the conversations that we have. It will save us a lot of stress. It will save us a lot of heartache. It'll save us a lot of our health challenges. You'll be surprised at how many people have ulcers, how many people have high blood pressure because of anger. Because of, I'm holding this all in, I'm about to explode. I'm going to get my point across. I was talking to a relative of mine, and I was like, calm down. You sound like you about to pop a vessel. Honestly, they were and it was over something that was so small. And I'm like, because somebody didn't call you and inform you about something that was going on with somebody else, you feel like you just about to lose it? Well, maybe they just didn't think, because they're going through it, they're not thinking about anybody that's out of state. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just finding out myself. But I'm not thinking that, they trying not to tell me, they trying to leave me out. And it was to the point where I literally just said, wait a minute, calm down. Are you okay? Like, you got to think about that type of stuff. It's like, wait a minute. We want to just be to a place where we can vocalize and say what we need to say without it being another issue. You know what I mean? And just deciding, is this worth even the conversation? Is this worth the conversation? So today we're focusing on effectively communicating. Effective communication. We want to be successful in our communication. We want to have an end result that's going to be better for us and the person that we are conversating with. We want some results from our conversation. We want some fruits from it. We don't want to just be talking and not producing. We want to produce. So let's practice having effective communication. Let's remember to ask ourselves these questions. Does what I say make sense? Does it make sense? Is it right? Is it true? Is it pure? Is it doing everything that it's supposed to do? Does it make sense to even have this conversation? Right? And then, am I speaking in anger? What's my heart posture right now? Am I speaking in anger, or am I speaking in judgment? And am I speaking to just make sure that you know that I'm right? Why am I saying this? Why is this coming out of my mouth at this moment, right? What solution am I looking for? Or am I coming to bring a solution? Or are we coming to come to an agreement? What solution am I coming to? Am I coming for resolve to a matter? You know, what's my reason? What solution am I looking for? And how will I respond if I don't get that solution? How will I respond? What will my next words be? What will my attitude be? What will my mindset be? What will my heart posture be if I don't get that desired result? Right? So let's think about that. Let's think about those things and those questions. Ask those hard questions to ourselves before we have some of these conversations. Right? And let's make sure that our communication is effective. All right? Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.